What's going on, everybody? Kevin Walsh back here for the New York Sports Machine 2016 NFL Draft Update. Right now, if you're interested in the draft, you're going through all your mocks and you're trying to see who your team is picking up. And if you're a team that's looking for a quarterback, you're hearing a name like Carson Wentz a lot. If you're a team that needs offensive tackle, you're probably looking at Ronnie Stanley, unless you're a Titans fan who's maybe going Laramie Tunes a lot. One, defensive players flooding the first round. So many talented guys. But the reason why I am right now doing this video is a defensive guy who a month ago, not all too known, not all too talked about, but now is really gaining a lot of steam and is going to be one of the most interesting players throughout the combine, throughout player interviews, and certainly on draft day. Former Ohio State DN Noah Spence is becoming the hottest name in the NFL draft. He went to Ohio State, was a five-star recruit coming out of high school, the number 4 player in his class. He was an elite talent. Sophomore season, had 8 sacks, was playing great. Unfortunately, had off-the-field issues that saw him banned from the conference, and he had to transfer schools. He goes and moves to Eastern Kentucky, played there this year, 11 and a half sacks, won co-defensive player of the year for the Eastern Kentucky's conference, and is now really starting to pick up steam because his performance in the Senior Bowl. For anyone who watched the Senior Bowl, you know how it goes, but if you didn't, the Senior Bowl, there's so many players that need to play, you get small sample sizes. And in Noah Spence's little taste that he gave people who make these mock drafts, scouts and everyone, was he got a sack and he just looked absolutely phenomenal. So athletic, so quick off the edge. And the comparisons are now coming that Noah Spence is the next Von Miller. And that is the biggest reason why I'm doing this, because if you're watching this, you obviously know what Von Miller just did this past Sunday. He, not single-handedly, but was the key piece in the Denver Broncos taking down the Carolina Panthers in the Super Bowl, won MVP, and is one of the best players in the whole league, offense or defense. One of the most impactful players game in and game out. And when you watch what the Denver Broncos did to not only Cam Newton, but what they did to Tom Brady the week prior, the ability to have pressure, DNs, you're going to see this draft, especially this draft, are going to be extremely important. Guys like Joey Bosa, DeForest Buckner, they are all going to be taken highly by teams because now this defensive end position, especially after what Von Miller just did, is going to be so important to teams that some might jump and some might push it up their board as to positions needed. They might find it that it's now more important than a position that was needed prior. The reason why Noah Spence, though, is so interesting is because of these off-the-field issues, it's hard to tell where he will go. The talent is clearly there. And when he gets to the combine, he might really, really start to impress. And people might say that he's the best defensive end in the class. He's already being labeled as the best strictly pass rusher in this class. And, for me, if I were to be, drafting, I'd rather my DN be better at pass rushing than being able to stop the run. And I know that they're both extremely, extremely important, but I would value that pass rushing skill over. And it's not that Noah Spence can't stop the run. So him being labeled as that is really interesting because right now the consensus best player in this whole draft is a defensive end by the name of Joey Bosa. Also an Ohio State Buckeye who was playing behind Noah Spence when Spence was there. So the possibility that Noah Spence is actually the best player in this draft class is real. It is extremely real. And if we see Noah Spence kill it at the combine and really impress when he speaks to these teams during his interviews, don't be surprised when mock drafts start coming out in April with Noah Spence going in the top 5, maybe even number 1 overall. So that is a name to really, really get after. Do your research if you think that your team might be looking into Noah Spence and watch some of the highlight videos. Look up all the different analysis and breakdowns of his game. Comment down below, though. What do you think about Noah Spence? Would you want your team to draft him with the off-field issue concern? Do you think he's better than Joey Bosa? Comment down below. Let me know what you think of Noah Spence. Kevin Walsh for the New York Sports Machine. I'll see you guys next time.